My day started here at Gifu Station, and it is a madhouse, because it's not only the train station, but the bus station. Back of the station's a lot clearer though, which is good, because this is where I'm picking up my rental car, and headed towards Fukui. This isn't Fukui, this is the town of Shiratori in Gifu, where I was supposed to change from one highway to another kind of prefectural road. Unfortunately, that prefectural road is closed. I got this nice view, but it did turn a 2-hour drive into a 3.5-hour drive, which ultimately wasn't too bad. I got some of these lovely views. This is a rest stop not far from Shirakawa-go, which is kind of a famous tourist stop. But I kind of needed this extra time off my feet to help my feet heal. So I appreciated the extra hour and a half and some really stunning views on this trip. Also, this rest stop just had vending machines and this monster that helped keep me alive through the trip. But eventually I did get to Fukui, and that shiny dome in the background is my ultimate destination. Still a bit further away though. As you get closer, you start seeing a bunch of different kind of dinosaur statues, because I am heading towards the Fukui Prefectural Dinosaur Museum. This is actually one of the best dinosaur museums in the world, and I'm not just going there specifically for the dinosaurs, but also the Pokemon fossil exhibit. This is a touring exhibit that shows off kind of Pokemon and fossils. It's actually coming to the US sometime next year. There's Pikachu riding an Aerodactyl. Yes, they did have an exclusive plush. Yes, I did get it. But the exhibit ultimately is just showing kind of like different Pokemon, different fossil type Pokemon, and the fossils, the actual fossils that inspired them. This year is one of my favorite Pokemon, the Relicanth. It's actually inspired by the Coelacanth, which was called extinct and then found years later. They didn't always just have replicas, but they had these cool kind of Pokemon as fossils. Like here's Kabutops, here's Tortuga, but they also kind of had comparisons. So here's an actual old ancient sea turtle, skull. Here's Archon that looks very naked without its feathers. This is based off kind of like Archaeopteryx. But they also had kind of bigger displays, like this one, comparing Auroros to Amargasaurus, another long-necked dinosaur with a huge sail. I kind of love these displays. They're super interesting. This here is Bastiodon, and kind of across from it, when we spin around, is the skull of a Triceratops. Here is Rampardos, and across from it is a Pachycephalosaurus exhibit. This is actually one of my favorite dinosaurs from when I was a kid, and immortalized in the second Jurassic Park movie. Here is the kind of centerpiece, the big exhibit of the whole thing, this Tyrantrum fossil. There's a little Tyrant next to it. I thought it was actually pretty cute. And here is Anorith and the weird little shrimp thing it was based off of. I probably should have ended on the Tyrantrum, but this is the last thing of the exhibit. This is the atrium, or the annex part of the Dinosaur Museum. It had this cool pillar display. It had these kind of diagram muscular models and cutouts as you're going down the other side. I just thought it was a really neat way to spice up a regular escalator ride. This is the kind of pillar from the bottom. It's actually really cool as you look up, because it goes like 3 floors up. Down here, they had a kind of augmented reality, not really, but this big kind of video display that moves as you kind of sit around there. Here's one of a T-Rex fighting a Triceratops. Spin around a little bit, and there's another T-Rex fighting a Triceratops, but you can see as the video starts to move and it goes down the walls. I thought it was really fun. This is the main museum section. You take this escalator down. There's a little fossil diagram of like the first fossils they found there, and this animatronic T-Rex that you see in all the pictures of the museum. I took a longer video of it so you could get more of it, like moving around and looking around. But this is the main dinosaur hall in the museum. It is huge. There are, I think, 40 to 50 different fossil exhibits in this one section. We're going to take a quick look at some of them. This here is a nearly complete Camarasaurus fossil, and I didn't know till afterwards, or I would take a longer video, but I was too overwhelmed by this Brachiosaurus fossil. It is huge. I don't think I've ever seen one of these in a museum before. They actually also had a model of it further back. Kind of overwhelming when you go to look at it. Here's a dinosaur related to Stegosaurus, but actually Stegosaurus. Here's the OG iguanodon, not the actual first one discovered, but the first dinosaur ever discovered. There are the thumbs. This is a robot of the Fukui raptor, one of the few dinosaurs discovered kind of right around where the museum is. They have fossil exhibits of it too. Here's the fossil of the Fukui raptor, and across from it is the Fukuisaurus. Here in a second. Well, along with the Fukui raptor. There's a Fukuisaurus, and you can see it's kind of related to the iguanodon with the thumb there. But they've discovered a ton of dinosaurs here. This is like the dinosaur capital of Japan, so they find a lot of fossils here. This is Deinonychus, which is famous from Jurassic Park. Here's my favorite dinosaur ever, Allosaurus. Why is it my favorite? I don't know. I picked it when I was like 4 or 5, and it just kind of stuck. There are a couple more carnivores here. I should have taken more videos of the name tags. This one's famous, though. Everybody knows T-Rex. I think it's funny. There's a whole generation of people who know the T-Rex skeleton just by the head because of the Jurassic Park logo. Here's Gallimimus, the dinosaur that was flocking this way in Jurassic Park, and it seems to be flocking away from this Spinosaurus and T-Rex skeleton. The next floor up, they had kind of proto-dinosaurs like Dimetrodon and these other kind of older Permian dinosaurs or dinosaur-type things, like this one that looks like a big hippo. They also have kind of sea creatures like this mosasaur, kind of giant sea turtles, and they also have mammals like this one that I actually didn't know existed prior to this. I don't think I've ever seen that before. There's an ancient elephant. Here's the skull of an ancient elephant if it played basin system of a down. And of course they have the classic mastodon and the kind of giant elk moose thing. This is also a research facility. Like, it is right smack dab in the middle of like where they find a lot of the fossils. So they have research and they have kind of seminars about the dinosaurs. It is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It was actually also like 95 degrees here, but it didn't really get to me because I was in the car with air conditioning. But really kind of gorgeous area. As you're arriving, leaving, there's this dinosaur that just kind of like looks out onto like just regular rice fields, rice farms in Fukui, and I just think that's a very cool juxtaposition, a cool picture. That's why it's the thumbnail. I also just kind of like this as you look into the innards of Fukui. But I was moving on back to my Airbnb with a quick stop here in Ishikawa Prefecture, looking out onto the Sea of Japan. The beach, you could walk down to it, but a lot of it was closed. They're doing like reconstruction on it, so I didn't want to get in trouble or yelled at. This is where I'll be staying. This is Nanto. This is my 350-year-old Airbnb. It looked like that outside, but inside it was kind of pretty cool and pretty modern. It had a regular air conditioning. It kept the room real cool. Modern toilet, modern bath, and of course this great balcony that I'm going to step out to in a second. I saw a lot of like bear crossings, tanuki crossings, monkey crossings on the road, so I was like, oh man, hopefully see something. This is the communal space. It was pretty comfortable. Those chairs and couches were really comfortable. Over here they had like a tatami room that had instruments that you could use. I didn't, but you could have used them. I also love this kind of gold tiger that's up on the wall. Out front they had like a little bar area and a place to get souvenirs. Just a really cool Airbnb all around. And that was my day in Fukui. It was actually one of my favorite days of the trip, perhaps one of my favorite days and across both my trips, not just because I really love the Dinosaur Museum and the Pokemon exhibit, but driving through the mountains in Japan is just like one of my favorite things. You can't really get a lot of video of it because obviously you're driving. I thought about getting like a time lapse camera just to shoot that, but kind of outside my budget for this trip. Maybe some other time, because I'm definitely gonna go back to Fukui at some point. The kind of roundabout way I had to get there, and the run and gun nature of this trip in general, meant I didn't get to spend as much time there as I wanted to. But I think it's a place that you should like stay overnight. There's tons of dinosaur stuff. There's tons of other cultural stuff. It's really beautiful to look at. I definitely have like friends and family I want to take back there at some point. Um, it's actually like I looked it up after the fact. Not the hardest place in the world to get to. Like I took a very like roundabout way because there's a lot of stuff I wanted to like stop and see on the way. But it's actually like a doable trip from Tokyo. It's only like a $77 flight to Komatsu Airport and then like an hour drive. So I'm combining, plane tickets and the rental car to drive that hour. It's probably not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's also not the most expensive thing in the world. For a really cool museum and a really cool area, and someplace I'm definitely going to return to. Tomorrow, I think, is my favorite day of the trip, so look forward to that one as I explore Toyama. Until then, bye.